Pucks Across Borders, Sports Act Live, and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectible store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off tons and tons of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular price items, but sales items as well. Do the math. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. You get the idea. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, whatever you want. I promise you, they have it. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off regular price and sales price items. Firstroundcollectibles.com. That's the number one. STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins.
And welcome to this Tuesday NHL betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders, Sports Act Live, and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by First Round Collectibles. As always, I gotta say, Andre, not the craziest night in the NHL. I think there's stories to take away from all three games. 11 games to get through tonight. We'll talk about all of it. I gotta say, we do our little pre-show. We talk, get ready for the show. Felt good. As soon as the cameras turned on after the countdown, my new setup, I literally just turned my desk like 90 degrees or 180 degrees, I guess. 90 degrees? No, yeah, 90 degrees. And I'm thrown off. I do not like the vibe. I just, you do the same thing every day. I'm a what's it called? Creature of habit. And this, I don't know, man. This just threw me right off. But it is good to be back on a Tuesday afternoon. 11 games to get through tonight. 3 games to go over from last night. But first, as always, Andre, how we feeling on a Tuesday, bro?
Feeling pretty good. No complaints here. Ready to get rolling. Ready to talk some real hockey. Because yesterday, we had to talk about 6 teams that you probably shouldn't trust.
Yeah, and we'll talk through it quickly. There's not a lot to get to over this, but the Red Wings beat the Sabres 6-5 in a shootout. Blackhawks beat the Rangers 2-1. Ducks beat the Canadians, beat the Ducks 3-2 in a shootout as well. Quickly for me, Sabres 21 shots on net. 5 goals. They're up 5-3 in the third period, and they lose 6-5 against a team that can't score goals. Not really much else to kind of get to on that one. Is you had the game, you're up 5-3. I believe they're either on a 6-game losing streak now, or they were on a 6-game losing streak heading into last night. One of the two, but regardless, you're losing a lot of games all in a row. You're up 5-3 at home against a team that can't score. You're doing whatever you want against James Reimer, and you still find a way. Or wait, was James Reimer in net for Buffalo, or he's played for both these teams? So I don't even know.
He was in for Buffalo. I remember Raymond scored on Reimer, and it confused me a little bit because I heard Reimer.
Yeah, that is confusing. Okay, yeah, because that's right. Because Husso was pulled, Costa's in net. So to me, you're Buffalo. You're up 5-3 at home. You're on a 5-6 game losing streak, and you got to find a way to win that game. Montreal Anaheim, I thought was actually a really good hockey game. 2 kind of bottom feeders, but I thought they played really well. You and me both, man, we're missing the boat here from a betting perspective. Patrick Laine scoring in almost every game since he came back. So good on Montreal getting the win. I thought the Ducks were up in that game 2-1. Lucas Dostal goes out of the net, tries to play a puck behind the net, misplays it, and he didn't even have a chance, ends up in the back of the net. So the Ducks had that game. Buffalo had that game. Those are two picks that you and I both had, Anaheim and Buffalo. So both of those games, those picks were the right picks, and they were trending in that direction, and both teams coughed it up late. And then the Rangers losing to the Blackhawks 2-1, and quite frankly, and not trying to kick on my boy while he's down or nothing, but Chicago was the better team for 60 minutes of that game. And it's just really confusing what's going on in New York. So that's my quick breakdown of last night. What do you got from last night?
That was the worst season. They're the team everyone wants to play right now. Buffalo, I think you hit the nail on the head. You got to come away with that one, especially at home. That many goals on those little shots. You got to lock that one down during this losing streak. And Anaheim, Montreal, just good back and forth hockey in Bell Center. Canadians pulled it out. Could have gone either way. Pretty fun game. Probably, like you said, the best of the bunch. But as you can see, I'm wearing a hoodie brighter than every team's future that played last night. So let's get on to some real teams, please.
The one quick thing I just want to quickly lay out, and then, like you said, we'll get into some real games. There's 11 games to get to tonight, so a lot to cover. Shout out Gabe, by the way, always cheering us on. We appreciate you. Don't know how we teach people math. And also, I'm being presumptuous that he's even talking about us. He doesn't mention our name. He says, I encourage everyone to subscribe to the #1 show that also knows and teaches math. That could be many shows. I don't know if that's what we do here, but if he is talking about us, I appreciate it. I guess we do talk a lot of numbers, but
yeah.
I was thinking about something today, and I was listening to the radio, and they were talking about how Luke Richardson, right? I don't think we were on the air last week when that happened. Luke Richardson for Chicago getting fired. I don't know if we were around to talk about that or not, but that's a whole thing. Anyone who watches the show knows how frustrated I get with the coaches getting fired in this league. But also, I got you, Gabe. Yeah, that's true. I appreciate you. But if you watch the show, you know how frustrated I am with the coaches getting fired in this league. Luke Richardson is on a rebuilding team that was not supposed to make it to the playoffs, and he somehow loses his job. I don't know why. How. It's stupid in my opinion, and it's fine. The Rangers, successful in the playoffs for many years. They fire Gallant. They bring in Laviolette. They not only win the President's Trophy. They weren't only regular season champions last year, but they made it to the conference final, 2 games away from winning the Stanley Cup. My frustrations with coaches getting fired might be times 100 if Laviolette, that guy gets fired. Would it might surprise you as a Rangers fan, but can we just talk in the scope of the NHL? How shocked would you really be on a scale of 0 to 100 if Laviolette gets fired? Because unfortunately,
on an NHL scale,
I don't think I'd be surprised. Unfortunately,
no. Yeah, no. If you were just outside looking in, absolutely not. But this is very clearly not Peter Laviolette's fault at all.
No, it's not. It's not. But that doesn't matter in the NHL. It doesn't matter.
Shout out to was it Lindy Ruff? Shout out to Lindy Ruff.
Yeah, our guy, Lindy Ruff. Speaking of Buffalo Rangers tomorrow night, and that's what made me think of it, was like, they're not going to fire Lindy Ruff already. The guy just got hired in the summer, but man, whoever loses tomorrow night, that's going to be a tire fire in whatever market they're in. I will say for Buffalo, again, really quickly, nobody, not Bills fans, not the name's escaping me, but the family, the Pagula,
Yeah.
family, nobody should be more thankful for Josh Allen's MVP season and the 9-3 Buffalo Bills. Nobody should be more thankful than the Buffalo Sabres. Because guess what? Nobody cares about you right now. Josh Allen is playing incredible. The Buffalo Bills are on their way to an inevitable loss to the Chiefs in the playoffs, but they're looking great right now. The way the Chiefs are playing, maybe this is the year. If it wasn't for the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres would be a lot more hated on right now. They were booed off the ice last night, but all right, that's enough from last night. Let's move on. We got 11 games in the NHL tonight. We're going to talk through all of them, starting with my guys, the Toronto Maple Leafs in New Jersey, -140 are the Devils at home. Way too much. Maple Leafs +116 on the road, -1.5 for the Devils, +176. +1.5 for the Maple Leafs, -220. Over 6.5, +106. And the under is -130. I will also add, before I forget, we talked about Gabe. Shout out to Gabe. 6 p.m. I will be hanging out with the boys over on Curious Sports Pulse. So looking forward to that. Andre, Leafs, Rangers, or Devils. All this Rangers talk. Leafs, Devils, what do you got?
Yeah, we might need to ban that word again. This game, I have the over first and foremost. And I think it's my favorite play from it. Just, I know the Leafs have been better defensively this year, but that's mostly at home. On the road, they're allowing almost 4 goals per game. It's 39 in 11 games. I guess it's closer to 3.5, whatever. I'm not a math major. That's not good. And this Devils team, I know they have this weird knack for getting shut out every 2 or 3 games. Not every 2 or 3, more like every 3 or 4. But between them, they're consistently scoring, 3, 4, 5 goals. I think the Jersey's offense is going to have a productive day. They're going to bounce back from that Avs game, having healthy production offensively, get back to what they do. Stretch the ice, use their speed, put pressure on opposing defenses, hit the back of the net. The Leafs, not having the offensive season maybe we expect from them, shots per goal on the road, still a very good team on both all 200 feet of ice. Offense had a couple rough games lately. I think they're overdue for a good one. They were firing on all cylinders before that, really, save for the Ottawa game. So I see both teams scoring at least 3. I got this one going over. I'm leaning towards the Devils at -130. I just trust them a little bit more offensively this season, especially at home. But I'm not exactly married to that. That's why I'm rocking with the over heavy here.
Yeah, this one I'm really interested in because I'm with you on that over 6.5. I think that's pretty reasonable. Even if both goaltenders play really well, I think both teams are going to get a lot of shots on goal. So you can chalk me down for that over 6.5 as well. I think from the Maple Leafs perspective, I'm really interested in this one because, like you said, defensively, they've been the best they've been in years. At least the Matthews-Marner era. We might even be going back to the early 2000s for a Maple Leaf team that was as good defensively as this team has been. And with that, it's not that it's easy to think on the surface that they've been sacrificing offense for defense. They're just getting their offense a different way now. And by default, they're scoring less goals. I mean, listen, 2.96 goals per game, 19th in the league. That's the lowest it's been in a long time. Like, I can think it's like, I don't know, off the top of my head, I don't have it right in front of me, but I can go off on a whim here and say that's as low as it's been this deep into a season in quite some time. So, and then you have the Devils, who are 8th in the league in goals per game, 6th in the league in goals against. So I'm really curious to see what gives here. Can the Leafs produce enough offense the way that these two teams play? I'm really curious. The Leafs did win the only game against the Devils this season. That was in the first week of the season. They won 4-2 in New Jersey. I do think the Leafs win this game tonight. I think they've been there 7-3 in the last 10 games, and they're on a 2-game losing streak. So that kind of shows you the heater that they like were on before the last two games. The last two games they lost. They lost to a very good Washington team that I said yesterday should be considered a Stanley Cup contender. And if you watch that game Saturday against Pittsburgh, that like those Penguins are a desperate team right now, man. Like they're a really, really desperate team. We're going to be talking about them in a little bit, playing Colorado tonight, and like I just feel like Pittsburgh, they're playing out of their minds right now, man. Their season's on the line. Most people, including us, rolled them off for any chance of making it to the playoffs, and they're playing some really desperate hockey right now. So I don't fault them losing to Pittsburgh too badly. I think that the Leafs win tonight. The Devils 6-4 the last 10, like you said, lost to Colorado over the weekend. I like the over, and I like Toronto plus 116. Just make sure I get this right. William Nylander, 3 goals in his last 5 games. John Tavares has had a very, very productive year so far as well. So both of them to score, I really like. This next bet that I'm going to give out, could both players do this? I don't know. You gotta see. I feel like every time I pick Mitch Marner to get 2 points, Matthews gets 2 points, and whenever I pick Matthews to get 2 points, Mitch Marner gets 2 points. Mitch Marner plus 176 to get 2 points. Austin Matthews plus 190 to get 2 points. To pick one of those guys, I really do like the chances of those two getting 2 points tonight. Moving on to Colorado in Pittsburgh. Colorado minus 184 now on the road. Pittsburgh plus 152. Minus 1.5 for Colorado is plus 128. Plus 1.5 for Pittsburgh is minus 158. The over is 6.5 and minus 130. The under is plus 106. I believe Scott Wedgwood making the start again. And by the way, I sent you a tweet after the show yesterday. We were talking about Scott Wedgwood, Mackenzie Blackwood. I completely missed Miles Wood plays for the Avalanche. So lots of wood, so to speak, in Colorado. Anyway, what do you got, bro? Colorado, Pittsburgh. Wow. I actually find this game a little bit more difficult to read than you might think.
No, I actually completely understand that. Listen, the Penguins are playing better hockey right now. I understand why Colorado's favored. I think Colorado should be favored. I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park. Now, what I will say is that the Avs have some new life here. They allowed 1 goal against Detroit very next night in Jersey. Not really an easy schedule as far as travel. Shutout. Boom. They finally get some time off. They've moved up. They've moved up to 30th in goals allowed this season. They're trending in the right direction. The Penguins, they allow the most goals per game still, but obviously, as we've talked about a lot recently, they've won 5 of 6. They're starting to find a groove. The offense is clicking. Defense has been hit or miss. They allowed 4 goals in 3 of the games. They allowed 2 or fewer in the other 3. So, again, hit or miss. Which version of the Penguins are you going to get? That's really the question here, especially defensively. Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to score probably like 4 goals at least, based on, Colorado, most of Colorado's season, based on what they've been doing lately. That's not even an affront to Colorado's goaltending issues at this point. It's more of just the Penguins playing good hockey. But are they going to allow 6 goals to a very dangerous team, or are they going to hold them to 2? That's the question. I've been struggling with it for a while now. I'm going Colorado minus 1.5. Over 6.5, hammering it. 2 of the 3 worst defensive teams in the league. I know this is probably going to end up 4-0 shutout somehow, but I'm trusting Colorado. I don't know why. I don't know how. I think they got the momentum going. They're wrapping up this road trip. I like what they're doing. I think they're a more talented team. I think Pittsburgh still has too many lapses against some of these more dangerous teams.
Well, it's interesting, man, because I feel like for Colorado, now their offense, they're 11th in goals per game as of right now. It hasn't been as high powered consistently as we've seen. You look at the points for McKinnon, McCarr, and Rantanen, you wouldn't know it because those three guys are still just absolutely crushing it. But what's difficult for me right now is we don't really know what we've gotten used to with Colorado is hammer the over, and no matter who wins or loses, it's going to be over when it comes to Colorado games, Pittsburgh games as well, for the most part. But with the new goaltending and quite literally new goaltending, everybody is new there. Everyone is new. So I don't really know. Like, I don't know. Scott Wedge he's a good goaltender. He's been a really serviceable backup in this league for a long time. So, I mean, but I don't really know how to handicap that. Like you, my first thought is over. And even if it is 4-3, we're not talking like the first thing that comes to my mind is whoever wins is winning 6-4. Like that's the first thing that comes to my mind with this game. But even if it's 4-3, 5-3, you're hitting the over. So I like the over. I think that's my favorite play in this game. Over 6.5 at -130. To have a 7 goals -130 is pretty telling of what Vegas thinks of this matchup. I'm not picking a side here. I'm leaning Pittsburgh, to be honest. I don't know, man. I flipped really quickly. Do I think that Pittsburgh is going to go on a magical run and make it to the playoffs? I don't know that. Not necessarily. But with the way they're playing right now, I just believe in it. I just think that they're playing good hockey. I watched them firsthand against the Leafs on Saturday night. And that was a really good, complete hockey game by Pittsburgh. And I just think they're playing good hockey right now. So I'm leaning Pittsburgh on the money line, but I am going to go with the over 100%. Also, McKinnon, Crosby, from the same area of Canada. They're Tim Hortons buddies. There's driving Zambonis on commercials all the time. Give me Crosby to get a goal plus 180. And give me McKinnon to score as well at plus 115. All right, moving on. Maybe the longest odds of the season. Have we seen longer? I don't remember. You might. I don't remember. Carolina home against San Jose. Hurricanes -530 against the Sharks at home. Sharks plus 390. This is all you need to know right here. And I'm surprised that it's not -2.5 yet. I will say FanDuel rarely has -2.5. Rarely. As like, obviously you can do alternate spreads, but as the main spread, I know DraftKings sometimes will bump it to -2.5. The Score Bet does as well. Other books do. FanDuel rarely does. -1.5 for Carolina is -188, and plus 1.5 for San Jose is plus 152. The over 6.5 -104. The under -118. What do you got?
DK is giving me Carolina -550. Honestly, I want to give some type of respect to the Sharks in this game, especially with how they, played recently. They had won 4-5 recently, only lost by 1 goal. But then they went to Florida and they managed 2 goals between the 2 games. They allowed 11 between the 2 games. Obviously, 8 of them came in 1. But the way Carolina's been scoring this season, I have a hard time keeping the Sharks in this game if they're only going to score 1 or 2 goals. It's really that simple for me. You look at Tampa, Florida, Carolina, 2, 3, 4 in scoring. That's quite literally San Jose's schedule. So
Yeah.
chalk up another one. -1.5 is too pricey. I have it -192. I'll take -2.5, -110. That kind of sucks. But it's probably the best you're going to get out of
-110 for
this.
3 goals. That's brutal.
Yeah.
For San
Best
Jose, I
best
mean, like, that's
bet.
tough.
Yeah. Oh, it's just awful. I mean, if you feel like they're going to compete, that +1.5 and +160 is there. I don't think they will.
No.
You're probably better off trying to target the total. I don't know how much Carolina is going to score, really. Over 4.5 for them is +110. If you like that, I think that's pretty good value. But the over 6.5 or under 6.5 is just, is San Jose going to only score 1? Is Carolina going to score more than 5? It's too tricky for me. So over 4.5 for Carolina is my best bet, and I guess -2.5 we're picking a side, puck line type deal.
Yeah, so again, 3 games in a row here. First thing I gravitate towards is the over. The first thing, because over 6.5 at -104, if I remember correctly. I literally just said it, so I should remember correctly. -104, 6.5. That's the first thing that I think of here for a couple reasons. Number one, Carolina. They've had a bit of a tough stretch, I guess, 4-5-1 in their last 10 games on a 1-game losing streak. Full disclosure, I'm just going to interrupt the show and just say this real quick, Andre. So where my desk is right below a vent from the people who live upstairs, and I'm just getting this waft of fish. Like, just, and not like, I love fish. I'm a big fish guy, but when it's secondhand fish, like, like secondhand fish smell, it's just hitting me so hard, dude. Like,
That's rough.
I can't even concentrate. I'm like taking a breath and I'm like, holy frick. I'm sure it's gonna taste delicious if they can hear me. It's no shot at fish. I'm all about fish, but it's strong over here.
Tuesday afternoon, it smells like City Island. I feel you. It's not what you want to wake up to.
But anyway, so Carolina, 4th in the league, 3.7 goals per game. 28th in the league are the Sharks at 3.47 goals allowed. Much like the Colorado situation, though, Sharks goaltending's different. However, Vanacek is in net for San Jose tonight, and we haven't seen him in a while. And there's a reason for that. No disrespect, but that's just the truth. 3-6-1 on the season, 389 goals against, 883 save percentage. On the other side for Carolina, Kochekov is in net tonight, and while the 11-4, 268 goals against, the 11-4 wins-loss and 268 goals against isn't bad. His save percentage is 893 on the year. And San Jose, when they want to, they can put up 3-4 goals. I know that their average isn't great. I think, let me just double check where I'm at here. 2.73 goals per game. I know it's not great, but we've seen San Jose score off a bunch of goals. So I feel like this is over like all day long. 6.5 -104. Carolina wins 7-3, and we're clearing the over. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, usually with the way the Sharks have been in the past, same with teams like Chicago and Anaheim, is you don't like betting the overs because the team that wins is going to win by like 5-1 or something. But the Sharks aren't that team anymore. They can still score, and I feel like this is an over all day long. All right, moving on to Philadelphia Columbus. Out of all the games tonight, this is one of the more, not the most, but this is a fairly intriguing matchup. I'm actually excited to kind of dance between all the games and keep an eye on this one. Philadelphia -120 on the road in Columbus. Columbus is +100. -1.5 for Philly is +198. +1.5 for Columbus is -250. Over 6.5 is -104. Under is -118. Exact same total odds as the last game. What do you got here, Andre? Philly, Columbus. I feel like this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm glad you said it because this is actually, like, when I look at the schedule, this is one of the more intriguing games to me. I'm going to just rip the Band-Aid off now, though. I'm going with Columbus. I like them at home.
Ooh.
They've been handling their business at home, 8-3-1
Yeah.
on home ice, coming back after a 4-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets in Manitoba. So playing some pretty good hockey. I mean, ignore the 3 losses before that. Playing some pretty good hockey. What I mean to say is they have momentum coming back home, returning for this game. And you know what their offense is capable of, and most of that happens on home ice. So the Flyers, they've got off to a strong start. They've lost 3 in a row, though, not playing their best. I think they're going to fight for this one. I think they're going to score a lot of goals as well. But this Jackets team's averaging more than 4 goals per game at home. I can't ignore that. I really like what they're doing when they're in Ohio. I really like that they beat the Jets last time out, got themselves some momentum before they came back. The struggling Flyers team, not built for it, especially when you look at what their defense is doing when they travel. So I'm going to take Columbus in a high-scoring game. Give me the over. Give me the Jackets.
Yeah, I mean, this is what, the 4th game that we've talked about so far today, 4th game that we've talked about so far today, and we're just hitting overs left, right, and center. Like, I feel like all these are going over for the most part. Although the next one is going to be an under, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. I'll keep this short and sweet, man. I think I'm right there with you, and I think that, like, Columbus being +100, Philly being -120, based on how these two teams have played this season, that could easily be flipped, and I wouldn't think twice about it. I think Columbus has been they're the 7th highest goal scoring team this year. Both teams can't keep the puck out of their net. Philly is winning every game that Philly wins. They win low scoring games. They are 22nd in the league in goals per game. Both power plays stink. Columbus's penalty killing is awful. Both records, I believe they have almost the exact same record, do they not? Columbus, 12-12-3. Philly 12-12-4. Columbus 6-3-1 in their last 10. Philly 4-4-2 in their last 10. I'm right there with you, man. I like Columbus to score tonight. I like the over in this game as well. Has to be noted. Johnson, Werenski, and Marchenko, those 3 guys are producing at a very high level right now. So whatever way you want to attack their prop market, I fully support it. Moving on to the LA Kings, New York Islanders. Kings -137 on the road. Islanders +114 at home. -1.5 for the Kings is +194. +1.5 for the Islanders, -245. Over 5.5, +118, and the under is -144. There's a reason under 5.5, -144 for under 5.5 goals, which is wild. I don't really have much to offer here this game, to be completely honest with you. I don't really like that I feel this way. I'm kind of supporting an Islanders money line here. I feel like they're just grinding out these ugly wins, and it's stupid. I think the under the +118 just to get 6 goals is very, very tempting. I don't really have much to give out here, to be completely honest with you and our wonderful viewers. But I think I'm kind of leaning New York Islanders money line, and I don't really know why. The Kings, one of the best teams in the league, very, very good. I've been hating on them all summer, even the beginning of the year. The Kings are one of the steadier teams that this league has to offer right now, but something is telling me that the Islanders are going to win some stupid game, probably in a shootout. I don't know. What do you got here?
Yeah, I was hoping you would talk some sense into me because I was also initially leaning Islanders money line. So that really sucks. I have no interest in talking about this game more than we have to, so I'll just lay it out pretty flat. The Kings, I don't trust them on the road. They allow more than 3 goals per game. Power play is 11.4%, save percentage 87.6%. It's just ugly all around. The Islanders are nothing to brag about anytime since I'll say the 80s. I'll be nice. But they're probably going to win this one. So Islanders money line. Let's move on, please.
Yeah, let's do it. Boston, Winnipeg, Boston Bruins plus 114. Couldn't get out of that fast enough. Plus 114 in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is minus 137 at home. Minus 1.5 for Winnipeg is plus 194. Bruins plus 1.5 minus 245. The over is 5.5 at plus 104. And the under is minus 128. Another minus in under 5.5. What do you got here? Boston, since the coaching change, since Joe Sacco has jumped on board and Jim Montgomery promptly packed his suitcase and went to St. Louis on the same night, pretty much, Boston's been a better team than Winnipeg has in that stretch. I still think Winnipeg's a better team. Don't fully trust Boston. What do you got here? Boston, Winnipeg.
I want to first of all give a shout out to Gabe for reading my mind. Yes, something's very fishy in the Islanders game. Second of all, I think I'm getting wacko for Sacco. They're playing well.
They are, man.
And they're really, especially in the last, was that 6 games? I can count, I swear. They're scoring a lot. They scored 6 against the Islanders. They scored 6 against Montreal, 3 against Detroit, 4 against Chicago, 4 against Philly. That's 5 of the last 6 games. Lighting
impressive. It is. Yep.
And you know what the Jets are doing. They've fallen off a cliff. They're grounded, if you will. A little Jets pun. And it's really, I mean, they're not scoring. They only have multiple goals and 1 loss, and they've lost 7 of the last 10. That's 6 of the last 10. I can count, I swear. But they've only scored multiple goals in one of those games. They've allowed 4 in half of them. They're just playing bad hockey, and the Bruins are playing good hockey. They're plus money. Love the odds there. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to ride the hot hand against the colder one, even on the road. Give me the Bruins plus 114. I think I'm going to take the under. I think 4-1. It's just what the Jets have been doing lately.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust that under. I think this is one where the other under, the game we just talked about that we won't mention again, I like the under there. I thought there was a reason why it was minus 144. This one, I don't trust it. I think laying it out, like you just said, man, like the Jets defense has been a little suspect recently. Boston's been scoring a lot more goals, but I also think this offense for the Jets is just bound to have a night. Like I still don't, I know it's been a lot better for Boston. I still don't fully trust what's going on between the net. And I don't know, man. Like I just feel like Winnipeg is about to have a night offensively. Not only do I not like the under, I actually really do like the over. This isn't one where I'm staying away and I don't trust it. I actually really do like the over. Even if either way it's a 4-2 game, 4-3 game, I can absolutely see that being the case here. I like that over 5.5 plus 104. And I like Winnipeg to bounce back here, minus 137. It's a little bit expensive as far as price goes or whatever. Minus 137 is a pretty good odds. And I like them to win this game tonight. You could argue that the odds should be maybe a little bit shorter than that even, but I do like the minus 137. Kyle Connor has been lighting it up all year long. He's plus 140 to score tonight. And for the Bruins, Brad Marchand, whatever, he has been contributing a lot more as of lately. He's plus 270 to score tonight, and I kind of like that for Brad Marchand. Also, side note, if you haven't seen this like 3-week long back and forth between Biz Nasty and Marchand on TNT. You gotta go check it out. It's been absolutely hilarious. Absolutely love it. Both those guys are beauties. I've gotten in so many arguments with Leaf fans over the years saying that I would love to have Brad Marchand on my team. I would absolutely love for him to be a Maple Leaf. And no, he licks people. He's a scumbag. It's like, dude, if he licks people but he's on your team, like it's, you know what I mean? You deal with it. He hasn't licked anybody now, which is a bit disappointing. But anyway, moving on.
Well, he got in trouble for that one.
Yeah, he did. Rightfully
got in a lot
so.
of trouble for that one. Yeah,
rightfully so. I guess you could. I guess
it's pretty
you
gross,
can.
actually.
Yeah, it is. But oh man, I love it though. I thought it was hilarious. Calgary, Nashville. Now, Andre, you got to talk to me. Talk to me. What am I looking at? What am I looking at?
Yeah, you know that thing I do with the Flames every time we have one of their games. If they're on the road, you fade them. If they're at home, you take them. I'm going to break that rule tonight, though. I'm taking the Flames here. Why would I take the Predators?
Dude.
Are you kidding me? I'm not
minus 192?
Come on. I'm going to break my rule just because they're facing one of the worst teams in the league. I'm well aware the Flames have a long losing streak on the road. But they shut out the Predators when they faced them less than a month ago. They're a better team. Yes. More than anything, it's the Nashville Predators. I was about to say something. I don't need to bring them up. The point is, this is a bad team. This is probably the worst team in the league right now. Calgary plus 155.
It's not complicated. And we've talked about this before. When you see odds like this, they should make you think. Like, they should make you second guess yourself or whatever you thought.
It did.
Because the books know what's up. That being said, I watch almost every single Calgary Flames game, and even though they've been losing quite a bit lately, I believe they're 1-5-1 in their last 7 games. I understand Calgary has been struggling. Nashville, so that makes Nashville a minus 192 favorite because the Flames, like all those games, by the way, that the Flames have lost 1-5-1 their last 7. All those games, for the most part, the Flames could have won. Like that game against Dallas the other night. I know Dallas was like ended up winning 6-2. That game was 2-2 with 15 minutes left to go in that hockey game. Like that was a back and forth tight affair. And the Stars just broke it open. But to me, they're 4-4-2 in their last 10. Nashville's 2-5-3 in their last 10. 3-game losing streak for Nashville. Nashville sucks, dude. Did you hear, by the way, I know we got to move on here. We got 4 games left to get to, but did you hear Andrew Burnett, by the way, talking about coaches maybe being on a hot seat? Did you hear what he had to say today at the morning skate? It was either the morning skate today or it was practice something recently. Did you hear this?
Pull me in. It's going to be good.
So the media asked him if he felt like scratching some players would be good to like you know how it is, like when a team's not doing well, you scratch a really good player to kind of send a message or whatever to the rest of the group, right? That happens. Yeah. So they asked him, do you think like scratching a player or two would be good to send a message to the rest of the team? The head coach of the Nashville Predators, Andrew Burnett, responded by saying, I wish I could scratch all of them. Which is like just ruthless. Just absolutely. And I love it. I love it. He's straight up saying nobody is playing well. And I wish I could scratch every single one of them. And I have a lot of time for it. I love it.
Oh, I love those. My favorites when they asked Saban how he felt about his team's execution. He said, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. Just that's actually such a classic. What do you think about his team's execution? I'm up for it. Oh man, I freaking love it. It's so hilarious.
We need more of that.
All around, we do. All around. And I find hockey, or maybe it's just a Toronto thing, which thank the Lord, Craig Berube has basically said, listen, head office, whatever you want. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not. But the Sheldon Keefe era, man, like anytime he was hard on Matthews, Marner, Nylander in the media, the next day he had to apologize. And like maybe it's just a soft Toronto thing, but I'm all for the coaches getting real in the media. Moving on, Minnesota and Utah, minus 118, the Utah Hockey Club at home. Minnesota, minus 102 on the road. I know Minnesota's dealing with some injuries. Plus 1.5 for Minnesota is minus 290. Minus 1.5 for Utah, plus 225. The over is 5.5, minus 110. The under is also minus 110. I will start this off and keep it short and sweet. Not only am I taking Minnesota on the money line, I'm taking Minnesota puck line here, plus 235. I trust this Wild team implicitly. I think that they should be favored here. I know that they have injuries, but you cannot convince me that Utah should be favored in this hockey game, even if they are at home. I'm taking Minnesota minus 1.5 plus 235 and calling it a day. What do you got?
Yeah, unless they're really worried about Minnesota's injuries, I really don't get this line at all. The Wild 11-2-3 on the road this season. Utah, they're in Blues territory. If we talk about points, we call that the median line around here. So just a mediocre team, and they've 4-5-2 at home. They've actually been worse at home. So I think they have a losing streak at home too, I believe. Now that I think about it, I don't have it up, their schedule up. I probably should. But I'm taking Minnesota money line, and I'm going to take the over 5.5.
Yeah, I think that over is a good play as well. I'm right there with you. Moving on, Tampa Bay and Edmonton. Tampa Bay plus 132 on the road. Edmonton minus 160 at home. Over 6.5 minus 120. Under minus 102. Lightning plus 1.5 is minus 184. Minus 1.5 for the Oilers is plus 148. What do you got here, man? I'm kind of feeling a Tampa Bay. I don't know. This Edmonton's team still don't really trust. A really good game against St. Louis over the weekend. I watched that game. It was a very good game. But I don't know about this one, man. I'm kind of leaning Tampa Bay. Where are you at?
There's not a single part of me that trusts Tampa Bay to get stops on the road, to keep teams out of the attacking zone.
Yeah.
Keep them out of the net. Keep them off the scoreboard, if you will. And Edmonton's a very dangerous team to play that game against. So, I look at the Lightning allowing 3.83 goals per game on the road. They've come away with some wins. They're 6-5-1. It's a miracle, but when you're allowing that much scoring, it's going to bite you more times than not. This Oilers team, I know, like you said, and like we said plenty of times, they have not gotten off to the greatest start. They're not juggernauts that won the Western Conference just months ago, but they've won 5 of their last 6. They scored at least 4 goals in all of those games. This Oilers team still has the top end talent that makes them so dangerous. On home ice, I like them. Stay in that groove. 4+ goals for this team and a nice win. I don't know if I trust the puck line, which is where the odds get kind of tricky, and maybe you go for the 60-minute line here, but I do like the Oilers in this spot.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. I'm not really going – I would take – I am leaning Tampa Bay here. I do think what you said is accurate, though. I do think that the Oilers have really been coming around, and for the most – Connor McDavid is just on an absolute tear right now. Let me just double check all this so I got this right. Connor McDavid, 9 points in his last 5 games. Braden Point, by the way, for Tampa Bay, 12 points in his last 5 games. being announced to the Four Nations Cup roster for Canada really put a pep in his step. He's killing it right now. 6 goals for Braden Point as well for Tampa Bay, to throw that out there. I think I am with you. I just think, too, the over, man. I think no matter who's in net for either team, I think this is a 4-3 hockey game at a minimum. And I really like the over here. That's where I'm going with it. All right, St. Louis, Vancouver, 2 more games to get to here tonight. St. Louis Blues plus 146, Vancouver Canucks minus 176, plus 1.5 for the Blues is minus 178, minus 1.5 for the Canucks is plus 144. The over is 5.5 at minus 124, and the under is plus 102. I'll go first here, short and sweet. There's good news and bad news for Vancouver. The good news is JT Miller skated with the team today. He is on track for making it back. We still don't really know the issue. It was a personal leave, yet he's skating with the team now, but not playing tonight. So that probably just means he needs some skates, some practices to get back up to playing speed. Thatcher Demko making his return tonight, which is huge. I think that's awesome. I don't think it matters tonight. I think Thatcher Demko missed the back half of the playoffs last year. He missed all of training camp, and he's missed the entire regular season thus far. I think tonight, to rely on him to be a dominant goaltender is asking too much of him, to be honest with you. I really like the way St. Louis has been playing lately. I know they lost to the Oilers over the weekend. The Oilers are just the firepower that they have. It was too much. It was a 3-0 game fairly early for the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday. Blues end up losing 4-2. I like what I'm seeing from the Blues, even though they're not always closing out games. Thatcher Demko hasn't played in a long, long time. I like the Blues plus 146 tonight. What do you got?
I also like the Blues. Kind of sucks saying that out loud, but I don't trust Vancouver at home. 4-6-3, negative 11 goal differential, allow the second most goals per game at home. 3.85. Power play is 9% worse. PK is 9% worse. They're scoring fewer goals per game too. It's just, I don't know why. They don't play as well in BC, so give me St. Louis.
All right, moving on to Florida, Seattle. Wow, I already put it up there.
Flying.
Florida minus 192 on the road. Just unbelievable road odds. Plus 158 on the Kraken at home. Minus 1.5 for the Panthers. Plus 134. Plus 1.5 for Seattle. Minus 164. The over's 5.5 at minus 134, and the under 5.5 is plus 110. Interesting. Now, I guess that makes sense. Once again, short and sweet for me. We do have to get moving. I will say just Panthers minus 1.5, plus 134. Panthers, remember, Andre, it wasn't long ago we were talking about the Panthers. They were kind of falling off a cliff there. They have very quickly righted the ship. They have won 5 of their last 6 games. Just double checking something really quickly. In the last 5 games, Matthew Tkachuk, 14 points, 5 goals. He is absolutely on fire. I mentioned my fantasy roster from time to time. A guy that I played a couple weeks ago, his fantasy team name was Tkachuk Around and Find Out. I thought that was pretty clever. I was here for that. Matthew Tkachuk is just on an absolute tear right now. Not usually one who does get a lot of helpers, but he's putting the puck in the net as well. He's plus 200 to score tonight. And for points, 2+ points for Matthew Tkachuk is plus 200 as well. So give me minus 1.5 Florida Panthers and give me Tkachuk goal and 2 points, both at plus 200. What do you got?
Yeah, short and sweet for me too. Defending champs not only got back on track with wins in 5 of their last 6, all the wins were by multiple goals. Every single game they scored at least 3. The lone loss, they scored 4. They just met a clicking Penguins team that also scored 4 and pulled out the OT winner. So I also like the Panthers -1.5. When they're rolling like they are right now, they're one of the toughest teams to stop. It doesn't really matter who you are.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, best bets brought to you by First Round Collectibles right now with our promo code Sports Addict. Get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. That's right, 10% off regular price and sales price items, ongoing sale up to 50% off. And with our promo code Sports Addict, you get 10% off regular price and sales price items. That's firstroundcollectibles.com. Promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Andre, what do you got as your best bet?
We're going to Ohio. We're going to Columbus. I like that money line. It has never left me. The Flyers, on a 3-game losing streak, allowed 4 goals, and 7 goals, respectively, in those games. We know what Columbus does when they're at home. We know this Columbus team can score at home and does score at home. They just beat the Jets on the road. They're coming back to a building where they've had success all year. They're 8-3-1. And they're coming back to a building where they average 4.25 goals per game, the second most in the NHL. Give me Columbus, straight up.
Yeah, I love it. Right there with you. I am now with a game like this where the odds are clearly Vegas is trying to say something to us, but I'm just not listening. And maybe this is too risky. I don't know, but I'm taking Calgary plus 155, man. The Flames, we already talked about it. Nashville sucks. Calgary's been playing some really good hockey despite losing. I'm taking the Flames plus 155. As far as a family play goes, I'll just kind of cut to the chase here. Tell me what you think. We got Leafs, Devils over, Colorado, Pittsburgh over, San Jose, Carolina over, Florida -1.5. What are you leaning here on a family play?
Let's do Florida -1.5.
Love it.
It's hitting 5 of the last 6.
Love it. Plus money for all these bets. What do you got on DK, bro?
Plus 1158.
Oh, good for you. That feels good. Columbus money line, Flames money line, Panthers puck line. Plus 1129 here on FanDuel. Good for you. Feels good. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. As always, we appreciate you. We will be back tomorrow, right around the same time. We're looking at tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Shout out to First Round Collectibles. Promo code Sports Addict, 10% off your order. FirstRoundCollectibles.com. Shout out to Total Apex Sports. Lots of great content going on over at TotalApexSports.com. And lots of YouTube shows coming out. They're finally catching up to us, bro. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.